أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهدي الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأن محمدا عبده ورسوله. Assalamu alaikum everyone, friends and family on YouTube. Welcome to another discussion. And I want to reflect with you on my experience with the final chapter in the Holy Quran. It's been an extremely rewarding, satisfying experience to go through every verse of the 30th part of the Quran. You know, these are the verses that we recite when we make salah. Most common surahs are Qul huwallahu ahad, Allahu samad, lam yalid wa lam yulad wa lam yakul lahu kufuwan ahad. The most common verses or chapters of the holy book that we almost grew up with. As a child, you hear it in the house or in your home. And most commonly heard when people lead the prayers are these chapters. And so, back in 1993, I did an Afrikaans translation of Juz Amma, and I still have it. And it wasn't as rewarding as this one. The reason was that this time I just went into so much more effort trying to draw out the meaning of every sentence or every verse in that chapter. And now you might ask me, but now Anwar, why would you go through all this trouble? I mean, there's a lot of translations, you could just read those. No, man, the problem is that I read those translations. I read Pickthall, Shakir, Yusuf Ali, the Mushaf Madina, Assad's translation, Muhammad Ali's translation. There's a whole lot of them. And I went through many of the English translations. And for me, I just found too many. And since Allah has given me the gift, and I see it as a favor, as a ni'mah of Allah, that He has given me the gift, or and not gift in the sense where I'm using it as a special talent, but just the ability to understand most of what is written in the Quran. And by most I mean maybe 80% of the Quran is, if I hear it, I know the meaning of the words. Maybe there's 20% where there are some words that are very difficult to decipher, but Alhamdulillah, with the grace and with the ni'mah of Allah, about 80% of the Quran, if I listen to it, it goes in. I have understanding. I understand it when I say Qul huwallahu ahadun. I completely understand it as good as I understand anything that somebody could say in English or Afrikaans to me. I just found so many passages in the translations that did not project the feeling and the meaning I got in Arabic. Those translations were excellent efforts most of the time, but I just did not get the meaning that I got from the Arabic. That's the one thing why I decided, look, it's time for me to put my understanding and my translation at how I hear the meaning into words. And that is one of the reasons why I went through it. And so I took special care, not just to base everything on somebody else's views. And in a previous video, I showed you the process, and let me give you that process again. The process entails basically every word that I encounter in every verse, that I go and seek that word elsewhere in the Quran using software. I do have software that allows you, if you see the word ahad, you only have to know what is the root word, which is wahada, to be one. And then you can go and find that root word, the software where you can find anywhere in the Quran where that word is used. And so I then took the trouble of every word that was not clear or obvious in its meaning to go and find it. Where I wasn't satisfied, I then took to the classic dictionaries. Now there are many classic dictionaries, and I have good websites and software for that also. I have the Maktab Shamila, which contains about 4,000-5,000 classic books, ranging from Zamakhshari to Shafi'i's translation to Tabari's tafsir to Qurtubi's tafsir. All these classic tafsirs, I have access to them. I have them on software. And I used to have the physical books. You would have seen those books here behind me. I had hundreds, maybe 1,000 books in my library, personal library, which I donated because it's all on software and I don't have the space to keep those books. So first of all, consult the Quran, the meaning of that particular word, then go to the classic dictionaries and tafsirs. Then, if it doesn't make sense, I would go to other translations, to other English translations. And then if that still was, there was still a little bit of unclearness or lack of clarity, then I would, just use my own intellect, try and find meaning by using my own knowledge of science, of the world, on whatever knowledge I have in terms of the world and science and social realities, etc., etc. And so every verse became an adventure. Wallahi, I'm not exaggerating. Every verse, I enjoyed sitting here and almost like trying to see what is Allah saying, what is Almighty Allah saying to me here, and what can I draw out of it. And the end result was, of course, as you know, was what I circulated to many of you. It was what I call a taste of the Noble Quran, where I put those 30-something chapters all together in meaning how I have arrived at it. Now, this is my work. This is not Allah's words. The words that I produce in trying to draw from the great and noble Quran, which is Arabic, which is in Arabic, is limited, because I'm just a human being and my language abilities are limited. And so what I've come up with, as you see here, is my humble work. It is not something that I claim to be divine, but it is something that I hope will be of benefit to me in answering to my Lord and my Creator and my Sustainer. And for you, those who love me and whom I love, who care for me and who I care for, that you will benefit with me in this effort, inshallah. So what am I giving you today? It's not a long video. What I'm giving you is, after sitting with Juz Amma, contemplating, reflecting, thinking through these verses, spending so much time with every verse, I have been able to draw the key lessons. And when I did my research at the university, I had to apply a process called critical discourse analysis, and also textual analysis, and also a process called thematic analysis. And what that entails, and I did it for thousands of pieces of written work, human made literature, and I found that it's a good idea to apply those principles maybe to the Quran. Let me draw out the main themes. That was the intention. Let me draw out the main themes. And you know what, people, what I'm going to offer you now is gold. It's gold. what I found was I went through this Juz Amma. It's 44 pages here that I've shown you now. All right. I put it in English. I sought the meaning in it. And I was able to draw out 5 key points. Now this Juz Amma, remember Juz Amma, the 30th part of the Quran, we know it as the first revealed parts of the Quran. When the Quran only started, the revelations only started with us. So we have a young Nabi, a young prophet, who is a recipient of Wahi. And so wouldn't you, if you were to reveal something to your beloved ones like Almighty Allah, wouldn't you put the important things first and say, look here, these are the most important things. The rest of the message is still coming. You know, we're going to teach you about the will, and we're going to teach you about economics, and we're going to teach you about how to conduct warfare and military combat. But up front, these are the first lessons. And wouldn't it be nice if we could know what are those primary lessons? And so this is where I am at. I want to show you those primary lessons that the Quran is asking you and me. And you know why it's important, eh? Why do we need these primary lessons? We need it because times are confusing, my brothers and sisters. Times are very confusing. You find a Maulana popping up here, a Sheikh there, some wise man there on the internet, on YouTube, and they're all pushing lines. They're all pushing a line. I'm also pushing a line. I hope my line is Quran. But they're all pushing a line. How do you know what is the real thing? Because when these guys, they often differ with each other. Now, today, what we need most of all is to get to the core ideas, to get to the main thing. So that all these additional things, you know, the guys who are telling you that music is haram, cutting your beard is haram, and all this jazz. I'm telling you that we need to cut down on their noise, because they're creating noise, my brothers and sisters. What they are doing is they are confusing you. They are piling on a lot of nonsense which they get in weak hadiths and in hadiths from one person only, and they're coming and they're crowding out the real issues. And today what I want to do is I want to take the clutter out of the way. I want to take that clutter out of the way for you and for me. And I want to show you, what does Allah want from you? Never mind what movie D and Maulana that, and with long stories, you know, rich stories that they've developed over 1,000 years. They've developed those rich fairy tales and fables. What is the real thing that your Creator wants from you? Now, if you're a Muslim, if you're a non-Muslim, pay careful attention, because now I'm going to show you what is the real thing that is wanted of you. You know, it is not complicated. It is not complicated. And let me show you Juz Amma, the main themes. It's not complicated, believe me. First of all, the first thing that the Quran wants to tell you and me, that you must take to the bank and know it and live with it and take it as sure as anything else you can see. As sure as you are there now sitting, as sure as that is this fact. And that is, in Juz Amma, what comes out clearly, the first thing that the Creator of the universe wants to tell you and me, that he's harping on it every second page in Juz Amma, is that you people, human beings, folks, people who live on this earth, who dwell here, who live in your homes and who live wherever you live in America and in Russia and in South Africa, there is a final judgment coming when this world ends. When this earth or this world that we live in comes to an end, and it leaves no room for doubt. It will come to an end. When it comes to an end, there will be a process of people reanimating, coming back to life, and being judged at a grand final judgment. That goes without doubt. That is one of the most important points made in Juz Amma. There is a Yawmil Qiyamat, Yawmil Hisab, Yawmul Deen, whatever you can call it. We can call it the final judgment, when you and me will face the Creator, our Sustainer, the one who gave us life and gave us power and who gave us responsibilities. That being, that Creator will summon you to explain yourself. That is without any doubt. The second point is that this chapter makes without any doubt is that there is a God. There is a Creator. If you didn't know it, if you didn't believe it, if you believed that you want to see scientific proof, if you wanted to see any other arguments in favor, know you that this book, this Quran, tells you in Juz Amma, right in the beginning of the Prophet's mission, was that there is a God. There is a Creator. There is divine intelligence behind the universe. That divine being, that divine Creator is unique, is without beginning and without end. He is an uncaused cause, and He is unlike any other being or entity that you can imagine in your mind. There is that Creator. We call Him Allah, or we call Him Ar-Rahman, and by Ar-Rahman we mean the one in charge of everyone's fortune, the one in charge of every mercy, the one in charge of every beneficiation to you. Ar-Rahman, the one that causes every creature, every human being's fortune, whatever happens to you, the mercy, the luck, the bad luck, whatever happens to you, Ar-Rahman is the one who controls that. And that we can take to the bank. And He records your actions by means of mechanisms. There are mechanisms. They are called malaika or angels, but don't picture beings with wings, because that's just the fable stories. There are mechanisms that your actions and your words and your deeds are being recorded in the universe. You know, as a person who studied quantum physics and quantum mechanics, I can tell you there are realms within the quantum level that we have discovered in recent decades that are mind-boggling. There's the possibility that right around us there are the means of any action to be preserved within the space around you. Believe me, every electrical impulse, every sound that your body makes is captured in the universe somehow. And from a scientific perspective, that is no longer far-fetched. And what I'm saying is that there are beings, there are entities, there are mechanisms that are in place that is recording everything you do and everything you say. And that is the second point that comes with this important chapter. The third point. So number one, there is a day of judgment. Number two, every action of yours is recorded. Number three, all people will account based on their record. Your record is preserved, and when you appear in front of Allah, your record will be there in front of you. You will not have an opportunity to lie or to concoct or to conjure up your record. Your record will be there, like a picture, like a movie, or like one picture on one screen. It will be there in front of you. Every act of kindness, every act of cowardice, every act where you feared something other than Allah, every act where you acted out of jealousy, every act where you acted to hurt another person, every act where you took what wasn't yours, every act where you were angry and you insulted and you injured somebody's feelings, every act that you did on this earth, whatever the Quran says, whatever you committed or omitted. So when there was somebody in the dust and you had an opportunity to be there for that person and you refrained and you were a coward, it will be recorded. All your actions and your inactions. Remember that. Not only your actions, also your inactions. The next point is that Juz Amma, the 30th part of the Quran, harps many times on the penalty of the evildoers. So much so that when I read it, I thought, I can't see myself being one of those people that will pay such a dear price for having lived a life of not pleasing Allah. So the evildoer's penalty will be harsh. It is a penalty consisting of, in very simple terms, of a fire. It is a torment. It is never ending. It continues on and on and on. And that is also listed as one of the key themes in this 30th part of the Quran. The next theme that comes out in this part is the reward of the virtuous. Again, as bad as the evildoers' penalties, so good will be the reward of the virtuous. And we are referred to gardens, we are referred to rivers and streams of the most delicious experiences that you can imagine, company of a high quality and satisfying company. So the company of those who are there, who love you and whom you love. The beauty of Jannah is illustrated in the most beautiful and clear forms, right? So that is also comes out clearly in this chapter. Then, very, very clearly in this chapter also is, now what is it to be virtuous? Because anyone can say to be a good person is you must do ABC, but what does Allah say? What does the Quran say is virtue? You know what virtue is according to the Quran? And I'm not sucking this out of my thumb, people. From Juz Amma, virtue means avoiding perversion and excess. Perversion and excess. And that goes for any field that you are in, but especially sexual perversion and sexual excess. Now, there's no way on earth that you can justify tolerating and accepting sexual perversion. Now, perversion takes various forms. Obviously, to do natural things within the ambit of what is natural is fine. But for you to indulge in adultery and fornication and sodomy and exhibitionism, for example, making a public display of the sex act, those are all acts of perversion, sexual perversion. And the evildoer, virtue means avoiding those things. Being a virtuous person means being a restrained person, exercising your sexual gratification within the boundaries, which is not spelled out in this chapter, but it is simply stated that act in a restrained way instead of in a excessive and promiscuous and reckless way. So that is what virtue means. But virtue also means kindness to others. And in this chapter of the Quran, in this section, part 30 of the Quran, the orphan is mentioned. The poor guy down and out on his luck is mentioned. The family person close to you is mentioned, who's experiencing a tough time. And so take note of this, my brother and sister, that virtue means not just being not a perverse person in terms of your section, your spending and your money and by the way, being excessive in your Wastage of wealth is also mentioned. Ahlaktu malan lubada. There's a verse there that says, but the guy brags, I could burn so many millions on this and on that. There's a verse there that Allah actually quotes the arrogant rich guy. So arrogance is condemned, and virtue means being a restrained person, and virtue means kindness to those who need you. Please, people, this is of utmost importance. You are today from me getting the themes which the Quran offers you in part 30. If that's all you read of the Quran is Juz Amma, then this is what you will get out of it. Is that what does it mean to be a good person? It means you must be restrained in your actions, in the way you spend money, in your temperament. Do not lose your temper. Do not be rude. Do not be excessive in your vengeance to people. Restrain yourself from excess in all aspects. Be a balanced human being. That is the message of Juz Amma. But it's not enough. It's not enough. The other half is show kindness and goodwill to your fellow human being. There we have it. It's not magic. Don't let Maulana and Imam and Mufti tell you that virtue is that you must put your fingers straight and that you must lift your arms up in the salah and that you must not say this Amin after Fatiha and that you must not make dua here, make dua there, or worship the Qabr and all this. I'm telling you now, please ignore all that noise and listen to the Quran. Virtue means being a restrained and balanced human being and being there for your fellow human being if they are experiencing tough times. Last point. Evil means sexual perversion, greed, scandal mongering, and ignoring the plight of others. People, the Quran is not coming with magic or with alien stuff or weird stuff. We can all do this. It's a standard that I can abide by. It's not an impossible standard. I must just avoid sexual perversion, in other words, fornication, adultery, sodomy, vulgar material that puts sex on display, smut. I must just avoid that. I must just be fulfilled within the boundaries. When it comes to my wealth, I'm happy to live a decent life, to be quite satisfied materially, but not to go crazy, not to spend $100 million on a painting, not to build a toilet made out of gold, to own 6 yachts, to own 3 Boeing 747s. That is excess. That is excess, my brothers. That is excess. And to lose my temper, to speak the way I want, to be an unhinged person, to swear at everyone, F off and go to hell, and to act like an insolent animal. That is what we are told amounts to the evil person. You disrespect, you act out of character, you hurt, you insult, you lose it with everyone. You are unhinged, you are out of control. And my brothers and sisters, if you look at America today, the poor America that is steeped in paganism, it is almost like a celebrated thing to lose it, to swear, to what is the word, to snap at anyone who drives on the road a bit wrong, to snap at your children, to snap at your mother, F off mother, mom. That are the signs of evil people, of a people that are suffering, going to suffer, who are unhinged, out of control. And also, of course, who are indifferent to the plight of the weak. Indifferent to the plight of the weak. So not enough of you to be a restrained person, a balanced person, a person of modesty, but also not to ever ignore the plight of the weak. There's one surah in the Quran, Allah says, أَرَأَيْتَ الَّذِي يُكَذِّبُ بِالدِّينِ فَذَلِكَ الَّذِي يَدُعُ الْيَتِيمِ وَلَا يَحُضُّ عَلَى طَعَامِ الْمِسْكِينِ. So there's that chapter where Allah says, be careful of the people who join the deen in the name of Allah. Look at this verse here. In the name of Allah. No, it's not that one. Here's the one. Have you ever considered those who choose to deny Judgment Day? They are those same people who repel the orphaned in society and fail to advocate that the needy get fed. Make this a bit bigger. Have you ever considered those who choose to deny Judgment Day? They are those same people who repel the orphaned in society and fail to advocate that the needy get fed. Now you know what, yeah? There's a very important point. Kindness is not always just being kind. It is to advocate for kindness. Please, that brings a political dimension. And this verse clearly says, وَلَا يَحُدُّ عَلَى طَعَامِ الْمِسْكِينِ. It doesn't say, وَلَا طَعَامْ وَلَا يَطْعَمُ الْمِسْكِينِ. It doesn't say, and those who feed the poor. It says, those who fail to advocate the feeding of the poor. So that's a political dimension, please. So part of helping the poor is not just going and giving the food. It is to make sure to fight with government, to fight with those who are evil, who are not allowing the feeding of the poor. Fail to advocate that the needy get fed. Condemn therefore other joiners of your community who become forgetful about their commitment, those who make a pretense of commitment while obstructing the satisfying of basic needs. Okay, not coming out. While obstructing the satisfying of basic needs. Coming back to the master points that I've raised here today for you. Take this to the bank, my dear brother and sister on YouTube. These are the things that you cannot deny that you will be asked of. There is a final judgment. Your actions are being recorded. All people will account personally. In other words, Maulana and Mufti and Sheikh, whoever they are, cannot come and be your lawyer. There's no lawyers on that day. You are there alone. Your record speaks for itself. If you're a coward, it will be exposed. If you're a thief, it will be exposed. You could have hidden that thievery of yours for 70, 80 years, but on that day you will be exposed as for what you were. You will then account. Evildoers, the thieves, the people who hurt other people will suffer their penalty. Those who are essentially decent and good people will get the reward. And what does virtue means? It means avoiding perversion, excess in your own behavior, in your character, in your life, and to have kindness to others, even if kindness means fighting for others or advocating for others. Evil means sexual perversion, greed, scandal mongering, and ignoring, being averse, being indifferent to the plight of others. In other words, keeping to yourself and ignoring others. Those are the lessons that I gained from this period of about a month that I was able to intensively deal with the final chapter of the Quran. My brothers and sisters, these are the themes, and there are more, but I maybe at another opportunity I'll take out some more themes, but these are the themes that emerges early on in the Prophet's mission. Early on, the Prophet's mission, when he starts his mission, when he speaks for the first time to people, the guy that works for him, his adopted son, his little nephew, his wife, the first thing he tells them is that, listen guys, there's a judgment day one day. and there is a God, and He is recording our actions, and we will be rewarded for all good that we did. And we need to advance the cause of the weak and the oppressed, and we need to defend them and help them, and we need to shun those who are oppressive to them. These are the initial teachings of the Prophet, and it is extremely spiritually enriching and uplifting for me to have uncovered these key points, and it bears so much weight to me. Inshallah, I hope you will benefit from these points. Alhamdulillah.